What's good, folks? It's KnightmareFrame here with a new Warframe video, coming at you with episode 4 of the Ultimate Eidolon Hunting Guide. Sorry for the wait. So this episode is turning its focus towards Harrow, everything Harrow does throughout the fight, and his builds. Since he's the easiest role to play in Eidolon hunts, and he should be your first choice when getting into the hunts. First, let's start off with his gear. Gear in Warframe will refer to many things, but most importantly, it's the focus schools and amps. Refer to episode 1 and 2 for more detail. But for this, you need a maxed out Void Strike and a few waybounds unlocked. A good amp between the X23 and the X27 variant. Without an amp, you cannot damage the Eidolon's shields. If you are using the Virtuous Shadow Amp Arcane, please, for the love of God, be sure not to use bright, blinding operator energy colors. You do not want to blind your teammates when you void dash to the Eidolon's head, so go for darker colors. A Sahasa Kubro for energy drops when charging your Void Strike during the initial entrance. Decent modded Itzel to get you across the plains faster. And another important thing, do not take a melee weapon. Getting out of your Arcwing will use up a Void Strike charge if you have a melee equipped. And as a Harrow, you do not need to take a sniper or anything special, since you're not going to be shooting the Eidolon. That's not your job. Before I get into the role and details about the fight, as Harrow, let's take a look at the build. The aura has to be corrosive projection, nothing else. You need to have 3 people running this aura. And in the Exilus, run Coaction Drift, as 2 people in the party should be running this mod, and that will be the Harrow and Volt. The most important part of Harrow's Eidolon build will be the duration. You do not want to be at 100% or over. The duration I currently have is the sweet spot for 5x3s all the way down to 3x3s, since you won't be able to recast this ability, and that's why you want to run with a lower duration. Of course, if you're doing 6x3s, your duration will be at 73%, since those runs are way faster and efficient. The reasoning for the low duration is because you do not want your Covenant to last as long, as the shield phases are very short. So by the time the shields are down and the Synovia is shot down, you are ready to cast your Covenant once again. You only want enough duration to protect yourselves from the Eidolon's sentient energy spike. Natural talent is also mandatory. Casting speed makes the animation faster, allowing you to cast the ability and immediately going into your operator, ready to DPS the Eidolon's shields. Transient Fortitude is there to lower your duration and also give you power strength, as the multiplier of your Covenant scales off of power strength. Streamline for the efficiency, vitality, adaptation, and rolling guard for defensive purposes. You can swap out adaptation for even more energy or health. And Handspring just helps you get back up faster. There will be quite a few knockdowns in Eidolon fights, and you want to be on your feet as soon as possible to be able to protect your teammates from the sentient energy spike. Since your Covenant is based off of affinity radius, you don't have to worry about modding it for range. Arcane Nullifier for 80% magnetic resistance, I suggest running 2. They are very cheap, you can easily get these as your first arcane sets before you get into Eidolon hunts. There will be 2 different things that you'll have to keep a note of as Harrow. First, initial run will always be different than the consecutive ones, but one thing will remain the same. You will always dash to the Vombalist Force spawn location and head off to the Eidolon. So during the initial entrance of the hunt, you won't be shooting your shots until the Hydralist. You'll remain charging your Void Strike till your turn comes up, as Trinity will take the first 2 shields of the Terrorist and then have the Volt take over the last 2 shields, and he will carry on with the Gauntlet. And then finally, you will have your shot. If the Vault does accidentally waste his shots on the Gauntlet, you will be there to take over. But for the consecutive runs, after dashing to the Force spawn location, you would immediately head to the Terrorist, and both you and Volt will be there ready to take down the shields. And then have all 3 of you shoot the shields during the Gauntlet and the Hydralist. To help you with the timing of your Covenant casting, always pay attention to its audio cue and animation. The Eidolons all have the same scream. As soon as it lifts his head during the scream, you press your 4. For example,
device is insufficient. You are directed to secure and employ additional Eidolon moves.
Also try to pick up Unair Whis while you're still in your Warframe. This will give you good control of timing. And finally, When the Eidolon is down and calling out for help, you wait for it to get up, and as soon as you see the Eidolon getting up and rallying for the final fight, cast your Covenant, take as much damage as possible from the Eidolon's attacks. The reason you do this is to boost your Chroma for the last final shot he needs to take, since your Covenant also boosts critical chance, 50% to a body shot and 200% to headshots, allowing the Chroma or any main DPS to one-tap the Eidolon. And that's basically your role as a Harrow. Very simple and straightforward, and very hard to mess up. But you have to remember one thing: keybind gear wheel items. Make sure you crafted enough energy pads, since they're very important during these fights. Alright folks, that's pretty much all you need to know about Harrow in the Eidolon hunts. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe. For more Warframe content, please refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.